Hey guys, welcome to the 716 Sports Entertainment Podcast, episode number 41, where we're going to break down WWE SmackDown from Friday, August 8th. It was all right. It wasn't the best show, but I think we're kind of hitting the home stretch for John Cena's face turn, which is good. But I kind of feel like this show had a couple of mishaps, and we're going to break it all down for you. As always, I am Mike with 716 Sports Entertainment, joined by Mr. Sean O'Neill. And Sean, how did you feel about SmackDown last night?
So, with how good of an episode of Raw we had this week, it was a bit of a letdown to not have as good of an episode of SmackDown, especially because SmackDown generally feels like it's been the better overall show lately. I
Mhm.
think that the fact that Bork wasn't on the show at all, and by Bork I mean Brock Lesnar, definitely hurt the show. I mean, obviously we'll talk about what happened as we go through, but I feel like at least some sort of more explanation than we got would have done a lot more. And even an appearance by him in like a backstage segment or something, or a pre-taped vignette would have brought a little bit more to this episode than it did.
I agree. Yeah, I was kind of surprised that he wasn't there at all, but maybe, they're going to just do limited dates with him or something. But yeah, it is kind of surprising actually, like why he wasn't there, and like especially after everything had happened, you typically want to like kind of keep it, keep taking advantage of that momentum, right? And it just seemed kind of odd that they didn't. Nothing. Like I mean, they showed what happened a couple of times, and John Cena did talk about it, which was how the show kicked off. So John Cena kicked off the show to a really incredible ovation from the Montreal crowd, which was absolutely fantastic. I mean, the crowd is definitely really happy to see him be a babyface. There's no doubt
Yep.
about that. And he kind of went into what he was kind of getting into before his SummerSlam match with Cody when he was talking about how he doesn't want to be forgotten. And he wants to make sure that he gives the fans everything that he can. And while he says that he's afraid of Brock Lesnar, he'd be kind of stupid not to be afraid of Brock Lesnar. He's going to just give it all he's got and do whatever he can to make the final 11 or so dates the best they possibly can be, which brought out Logan Paul, who came out and talked a little smack and ultimately, to everyone's surprise, challenged Cena to a match at Clash in Paris, which later on in the show was made official. So before we talk about the rest of the segment, are you surprised that this happened, or I guess we're saving Brock for something else?
So I have to imagine they're saving Brock. I can't imagine they're going to save him for as long as Survivor Series, but maybe Perth for Brock. Have it at the big Crown Jewel show. I know that Brock has usually been a centerpiece of the Crown Jewel shows, one way or another. So hopefully it's that. I feel like waiting till Summer or Survivor Series would be a huge waste of time and of Cena's uses. As far as, Logan Paul, I mean, we got John Cena, greatest face of all time, versus Logan Paul, greatest heel of all time. And I'm perfectly okay with it. I think that this ties back to the match when Cena was still a heel and he teamed with Logan Paul and the way that they got into it during the match. And I think it gives a nice little wrap up to that segment of Cena's career.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm glad that they paid that forward as well, because like, that could have just amounted to nothing, but it certainly is a good thing that they are going to close that out. And I think it's fine. I think Cena's going to obviously get his win, like, and it doesn't hurt Logan Paul. Actually, I think if anything, it helps Logan Paul to be in a match with John Cena
Yep.
because it definitely adds to just, more cred for him. And it would not hurt him at all to take a loss at the Paris show, I don't
It's
think.
it's one thing I'll say too is that under the Paul Levesque Triple H era versus the He Who Shall Not Be Named Voldemort era, we don't have as many storylines being forgotten. There, we
Mhm.
we tend to have a lot of callbacks, and other than a few here and there, for the most part, we go back and get storylines finished.
So right after the challenge was made for the Clash in Paris show, which Cena happily accepted, Logan Paul's partner from SummerSlam, Drew McIntyre, ambushed John Cena from behind, which led to Cody Rhodes coming out to make the save, which set up a tag team main event for later on the show, which was kind of a surprise to start off the show that they would, have Cena have a TV match and, just have him right away team with Cody. But it certainly didn't surprise me that this is the direction that we're going. And now it actually kind of makes sense too. I think that Drew McIntyre got the win at SummerSlam if you're going to have him go up against Cody, which
Yep.
after what we saw at the end of the show, it very clearly is like Drew McIntyre is Cody's next opponent.
I mean, we've been talking about it on this show for a while that Drew makes the most sense as Cody's next opponent, especially going back once again to that segment when Drew, Randy, and Cody were in the ring, and Drew told Cody that he wanted him to win so that way he could be the one to take the title off of him.
Mhm.
Do I think Drew will take the title off of him? Probably not. I mean, you never know. Things could happen, injuries, so on and so forth. God forbid. But I think it'll be a fantastic feud. I think that I really like that Logan Paul and Drew are still working with each other more or less. I know that there was an interview with McIntyre where he said that working with Logan Paul actually gives him the opportunity to do some things that he's never been able to do before. And I just the fact that we got John Cena as one of his dates having a match on free TV was 100% surprising to me. I never would have expected that in this final run. And I like it. I hope we see at least one or two more of these.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to. I mean, it can't just be like he does this match with Logan and then he does a match with Brock. I still feel like there's got to be some interaction between him and Dwayne before this whole thing is over.
I'm I'm still convinced that it's going to be him versus Dwayne for his final match. The once in a lifetime part three, as it were. And I mean, how many dates does he have left now? Like 10,
I think 11.
11? And so Paris, so three of them, four of them are events. Paris, Perth, Survivor Series, and that December Saturday night's main event. So he's got what, seven?
So he's got Logan, Brock, and then two other opponents.
Two other, and then seven TV appearances.
Yeah.
I think they can do a lot with that little amount of time.
Mhm. I think so too. So the first official match of the show was the MFTs versus the Motor City Machine Guns of Alex Shelley and Nick Saban. And they clearly showed that they were sort of, visibly damaged from their six-way TLC match at SummerSlam. And, really played up the fact that they were not at 100% throughout the match. And it obviously allowed the MFTs to pick up the win with Tala Tonga hitting a massive choke slam on Alex Shelley. This was fine. And, we're kind of obviously played into the post-match angle, which I will let you get into because this was like a relatively nothing match. It was just kind of a, sort of a standard for TV match, nothing really spectacular about it. But I kind of think the post-match angle you had a lot to say about. So I'll let you get into it.
So as far as the tag match itself goes, I think the more surprising thing is Solo basically saying that he wants to get the NFTs into the tag team ring and have them going after the belts as well. And as much as I don't like seeing the Motor City Machine Guns lose, I think that the Tongans getting a win here was huge, especially considering as like it was the law firm and Talatonga in the ring. When was the last time that we saw Jeff Cobb get a win or get anything other than laid out in the middle of the ring? You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think that that's huge for establishing them as a potential threat in the tag team division. I mean, we know they're a threat just because of the group they are, but if we're going to have different members of them teaming up like Freebird style, I think that that definitely helps get them up a step on some of these other tag teams. As far as the post match, I am okay with the fact that Solo was running his mouth and about how nobody could compete as U.S. champion. I am okay with all this coming out and saying, "Oh, we're going to put you into a match immediately." I am not okay with who his opponent was because once again, here comes Mr. Underdog of the Hour, Sami Zayn. And of course, it's Montreal, so he gets the huge hero's welcome. And big shocker here, he won. So here's my question for you. Does him winning earn him a U.S. title shot?
Yes.
Okay. Does he win the title off of Solo?
No.
Okay, good. Because I think him taking the title off of Solo would be the stupidest storyline decision that they could make. I have to imagine that Fatu wasn't up there because we know that he's had some legal problems in the US, similar to how the other Usos weren't allowed up in Canada for a while. So I
Mhm.
have to imagine that that's why he wasn't at this show. Don't quote me for sure because I don't know for sure. That's just guesswork. But based on previous interactions that we've seen, I would have to imagine that's what it was. But I am so sick of Sami Zayn. I'm sorry. I'm so sick of this underdog shtick. I am so sick of, oh, here he is to save the day, your ginger underdog hero. And it's just, it can't just be me, right? Like, are the fans still that high on Sami Zayn? Like, I know T is up there. Terrence's opinion is right up there with mine. I don't know about yours, but like, people have to be getting sick of him, right?
I mean, I don't think so. And the reason I say that is because I was doing a lot of thinking, especially since we still don't know what really is going on with Karrion Cross. And like, while I agreed with you guys in the sense that I think it would have made more sense if he was staying for Karrion Cross to get the win in that feud, I do also think that Karrion Cross is an internet darling, and Sami Zayn is a live event darling, if you will. And I don't think that Triple H and the people in charge really give a crap about that. They want to go with people who get pops, and Sami Zayn gets pops every single time he comes out. The crowd sings along to his stuff, and they're all into him. And they were kind of dead with Karrion Cross. And I think a lot of people are just unhappy with Sami Zayn because he beat up one of their internet darlings and kind of buried him.
It's weird though, because normally your internet darlings are the kind of people like Sami Zayn, the smaller, undersized wrestlers that aren't the ones who are generally getting over because they don't fit the stereotypical VKM mold of wrestlers.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
Yep.
like, which is crazy to me because Karrion Cross fits that mold, which obviously is understandable considering as how when they tried to originally introduce him to the main roster with his weird bondage gimmick, that was obviously
I
that was
forgot about that.
obviously that was obviously a VKM idea.
I
But
totally forgot about that.
right,
I
like
just like blocked that out of my mind.
yeah, but it felt like Triple H was doing right by him with the way that he came back, and it just I don't the whole Karrion Cross Sami Zayn situation just feels like it's like reverse from the way like it normally works. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's your indie darlings are normally people like your Daniel Bryan, your CM Punk, your smaller guys, not
I
your
didn't say
people who.
not indie, internet,
No, I know.
because
I'm saying,
he's popular.
you're
He's
different.
popular with the online crowd.
Which your internet people are normally the indie darlings. They normally like those kind of people,
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
and like your Adam Coles, your people who came out of like Ring of Honor, those kind of wrestlers. Not ones who you would have seen like in WCW or in like '90s WWE.
That's
Like
fair.
Karrion Cross, tell me Karrion Cross wouldn't have fit as a heel going up against Hulk Hogan.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I don't quite understand it, but I guess that's why they pay Triple H and the backstage bookers the big bucks. So
I mean, you think that's all it is? You think that that they just solely go by what the live crowd has to say?
I don't know because for the longest time I thought it was like merchandise sales, that kind of stuff, which if it were, Cross would be at the top of the list. He's been in one of their top merchandise people. He's been up there with Jay. And like just as far as the things he's been selling, I mean, WWE pushed his book this past weekend when allegedly their contracts expire this weekend. Why would they be pushing his book if they're expecting him to leave? Like it doesn't. like I said, this whole situation and the way it's being handled is counterintuitive to me. Like it doesn't fit like the normal way that these contract disputes and expirations seem to go.
Mhm. It's fair. It's fair. All right. Well, moving into that, obviously, then did have Sami Zayn obviously defeat Solo Sikoa in a non-title match, like we talked about, and this was all. I really think that I kind of hope that this, like to your point, that maybe this won't lead to a program, and maybe just this was just done because of where SmackDown happened to be, and
Yep.
it was to get get him on the show because he is technically he's a Raw guy, right? I mean,
Yeah.
not that that matters anymore, because whatever brand
Ask
split,
Chelsea Green.
yeah, brand split, LOL. But I don't know. I mean, for what it was fine. I don't really like it that we, are kind of gonna cut more of Solo's momentum down a little bit, especially after, his win over Jacob, which I guess it wasn't a great win, but still it was a win.
Yep.
And yeah, not the best, but like I said, it was kind of par for the course for this SmackDown, which just kind of seemed to be a bit all over the place, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, Next we had a video message from the Wyatt Six just talking about how this is the beginning of their story and there are more lessons to be learned. This was fine, I guess. It's never going to be the Firefly Funhouse, and it's never going to be whatever it was with Bray Wyatt when it was around, but whatever, spooky tag team doing spooky stuff, I guess.
I, as far as the Wyatt Six go, I would like to see them trying to go after other titles and bring it in as like a group. Be like, oh, we want to own all these titles as part of our group. Like have Nikki Cross go after like Julia, or whoever beats Julia. Because I don't think Nikki Cross beating Julia is a good idea. But down the road, have her go over, bring that title to the group. Have Uncle Howdy maybe win the U.S. title at some point. I don't see any of them ever actually being like big title holders, but I think it would be an interesting thing to do is have them just try to bring all these titles into the group. And I'm fine. Bo Dallas is an interesting character. In I think that the way that he plays Uncle Howdy, I think is one of the strengths of the group
Hmm.
in like the vignettes versus the live versions,
Hmm.
because that stupid laugh that he does when he's in the live versions is just so dumb sounding. But like he plays the character so well in the vignettes that I'm perfectly behind those. So the more they can do of winning things and then just doing pre-taped stuff, I'm cool with them.
Yeah, I mean, play to your strengths, I guess, right? But
Mhm.
I don't know. I still don't really know how I feel about it, like overall, but it's fine, I guess.
I do
Uh,
think that rather than the supernatural side of things, they should lean into it being more like a cult. And
yeah, I agree. I agree.
I think that would get them 100% more traction and believability as a group. And like, yeah, you can still have them wear the masks and crap, but it's more of like a mental disorder type of thing. Like it felt like they were doing at the very beginning of them being introduced when they were having like the conversations with the therapist where it turned out it was just Bo and Howdy talking to each other. I
Mhm.
think that you play into like the mental like psychopathy and sociopathy side of things, and I think that you can tell a much more interesting story by basing it in reality rather than trying to create like a Kane and Undertaker supernatural type story.
I completely agree with that. Like spooky characters, that's a thing of the 90s and of the 80s, and we're not in that era anymore. Like it's not something like The Undertaker would not work today, right?
Nope.
It worked 30 years ago. It would not work today.
The the problem is that with the death of kayfabe, it brought about the death of supernatural characters. You can't have a character that hinges on being basically an immortal zombie in a world where we all know that he's me and Mark Calloway.
Yeah,
Like, I'm sorry, but as cool as it was back in the day to see Kane as a zombie fight or Undertaker as a zombie facing his returned from hell demon brother, like, there's no way any of that exists nowadays because you see them out having beers with fans.
exactly. Exactly. So
Thanks,
on to
Undertaker.
the Yeah, so on to the best thing. that happened on SmackDown. Charlotte Flair threw a small birthday celebration for Alexa Bliss, which frankly should have happened on Raw instead of that pointless rematch they had with the Judgment Day, but it is what it is. Um, but complete with cake and a new "We're Not Friends" T-shirt for the Alexa's doll Lily. And then Charlotte also gave her a gift, which was Charlie, Lily's new tag team partner, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. I am digging this so much. I think it was absolutely great. This was the best thing on SmackDown by a mile. Their celebration was unfortunately cut short by the Secret Harvest, who crashed their party, which caused Nick Aldis to come out and make a match between Chelsea and Charlotte for right away.
I loved the cake that said "Congratulations, Charlotte," and then in really little letters, "and Alexa Bliss." I
That
thought that was absolutely hysterical. And
was great.
I mean, what world are we living in that in 2025 I am a fan of Charlotte Flair?
I know.
Like,
I know.
and the fact that they did this turnaround in the span of, I mean, I started predicting this what, right, like a month after Mania,
Yeah.
and in the span of like 3 months, they've changed the WWE universe from despising Charlotte Flair into cheering her.
Mhm.
Like, what world is this? What's next? Sasha Banks returning to WWE and being cheered? Like,
All of the credit goes to Alexa Bliss for this. All of it.
like she's made Charlotte a personable, and I mean, yeah, she still has her same type of character quirks, but they're being used in a humorous, like caring type way,
Yep.
which is fantastic. And honestly, I hope that they drag this story on for as long as they possibly can, because I
Completely,
am all for it.
completely agree. Yeah, so the moment Chelsea Green made her way to the ring, everybody knew what was going to happen. Obviously, the Secret Harvest tried to help Chelsea pull off the upset, but they were taken out by Alexa Bliss. They did manage to get the birthday cake into the ring at the request of Chelsea. That turned out to be a mistake, as Green attempted to do the unprettier, but Chelsea or Charlotte countered into one of her own, dropped Chelsea face first into the cake, hit the figure eight to earn the submission victory.
As soon as I saw that cake, I knew someone was going into it.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was it was
there's
just
no
the
way.
right size. Uh, I do love that Chelsea came out proclaiming herself as a proud Canadian, and I just I know you guys laughed at me, but I still do think that Chelsea is at the top of the women's division, even though she's not a contender. I think the character work that she does and her commitment to the Karen to work that she does is uh is so top tier, and her commitment to it, she's one of the best things going in the women's division right now. And it's
Absolutely.
funny because, like I said, she's not even in in a title picture of any sort. And brand split, no, there's just the Chelsea Green Secret Harvest split.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, she was on NXT this week too, teasing a team up with Ethan Page, which I
Yeah.
am 100% behind.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Um, so we obviously had to get all of our women's title holders into just one quick backstage segment just to kind of remind you that they all exist. But Kathy Kelly interviewed Tiffany Stratton, who said she's ready for her next challenge. Jade attempted to interrupt her and said the next time she faces Tiffany, the outcome will be different. Just then, as Julia and Kiana James would get in Jade's face, and Kiana James told Jade that she could help her win the title back and gave her a business card, to which Jade was like, yeah, kind of whatever. To which the business card was then taken by Mia Yim, stating that she would use it to get herself a Women's United States Championship match.
So much of this could have been its own segments. Like, why did we need to do this all as one singular segment? Like, and for the love of God, can we get Tiffany an actual like feud here and not just have her in these random segments? She's the top of your women's division on SmackDown. Like, I'm just hoping to God that we don't somehow see Nia Jax come back and get involved in this again. Because at this point, I don't understand what they're doing with Tiffany. I mean, she literally won the match at SummerSlam, which none of us expected, other than T, I think. But she had a decisive win over Jade. Like that tells me that WWE has a lot of trust in her. Give us
Yeah.
an actual feud for her. Like, and then when it comes to Julia, like, is all we're gonna really see her in is backstage segments? Like, why is she not doing more?
So I completely agree with you on Tiffany Stratton. We need to get her into another program like right away. Just having her kind of fly by the seat of her pants is not the best thing in the world. I think having pairing Kiana with Julia is a good thing. And
Yeah,
I think it will certainly lead to more challenges for Julia. And like I said a couple of weeks ago with Julia, she just needs to continue to have great matches. And I think that will be what gets her over the hump. Because obviously Stephanie Becker has the look, and frankly, she has that devil's kiss move that just everybody absolutely loves. And she's obviously she's very good looking. So is Julia, though. But I think she just has a connection with the crowd that Julia just simply does not. But I think what they need to do with her is just let her have banger matches every single week or every other week just to show how great she is, because she is probably one of the best wrestlers on the roster.
I mean, we're gonna be getting her versus Michin, it sounds like, and
Yeah.
that match should be an A plus match. I mean,
Yep.
yes, Michin's another one who doesn't win a lot, but she always brings her A game, and she can make anyone she's in the ring with look pretty damn good. I mean, that series of matches she had with Chelsea Green and the Secret Hervis, with all like the different like Extreme Rules matches and everything, Michin was the MVP of those. Like she does a really good job, and she's been around long enough that she can put pretty much even in losses makes people look great.
Yeah, completely agree. This show was certainly just, and I think this is kind of why we said what we said at the beginning, but this show was really just the show for backstage segments because there
Yeah.
were three more of them after this, and it was the first Carmelo Hayes running into the Miz, asking why he left him high and dry for the last 2 months. And Mella made note that he was going to move on, and then Miz was like, "No, I'm going to get us a tag team matchup so we can get ourselves those tag team titles." And Miz went to look for Nick Aldis, kind of lied to Carmelo Hayes, saying that he already did it, but then he found Nick Aldis and was like, "Hey, Nick, let's talk." Which immediately led to an Aleister Black vignette where he was basically just recapping what he did to Damian Priest, talking about how he's not, quote, an eye for an eye kind of guy, and he really is more just about taking violence to the next level. And Priest is currently with a hairline at home with a hairline fracture in his jaw to be out indefinitely for right now, probably kayfabe. And then lastly, and this was the most disappointing part, I think, was we had John Cena and R-Truth in a backstage interaction ahead of the main event, where Cena jokingly blamed Truth for all of the weird things that he, quote, said and did over the past few months. And Truth said, if Cena is back, then he's back too. So basically, everything that we did with R-Truth is just been just completely wiped away.
So
It's
it
it's
was
it's
funny.
literally like they're just like this whole heel turn never happened.
Yep. It was so the problem is it was funny, that segment and all that. And I don't think we can classify what Truth did really as a heel turn. I think that it was more of just trying to interject reality into things. But the problem is that them having to do this sudden about face for Cena kind of forced their hand with Truth. I would have been okay with them being like, Truth being like, no, this I'm not cool with this. You know what I mean? But I kind of feel like the whole face turn for Cena kind of wrote them into a corner as far as Ron Killings goes. And I'm hoping that we can still see a little bit of edge with Truth and his character, but I guess we'll see as the months go on what goes on there. I mean, that's if we even see him again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I like the Aleister Black thing, even though it was kind of pointless, as just talking about how he brings the violence. I mean, it gave us a little bit more storyline info with why Priest is going to be gone for a little while. My bigger question is the first segment. Why are we pairing up Miz and Carmelo again? We went 2.5 months where Melo was on his own, looking good, putting on good matches. And unless the pairing up of these two is for Carmelo to turn on Miz and get us an actual series between the two of them, I don't see a point in this. We don't need another thrown together tag team in the tag division. We don't need any of this. my the only hope I have is that they got a tag title shot against the Wyatts during the match. Mello turns on Miz, walks away, leaves him to get murdered by the Wyatts, and we get a match between Mello and Miz because Mello needs to be on his own. As much as I love the Miz and the fact that he can be used to put pretty much everybody over, and like when you need a fill-in champ, he commits to the role. I think that Carmelo Hayes needs to be able to run on his own.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like I really like Carmelo Hayes a lot as a wrestler. I think he's fantastic. But dude, like absolutely needs to I don't know. Either they either need to like get going with something with him or just let him go to AEW. Like I mean,
Find a way,
I don't really know.
find a way to bring Trick back up and pair them back together. I don't care. There's a tag team I could be fine with, but find something. There, like he is way too talented and way too great of an athlete to be in the position that he's in. Honestly, he probably should have been in the Money at the Bank match for the style of work that he does. He would have fit in that match.
Who do you take out instead of him?
Andrade.
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, yeah, because he's going into that tag team. Yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense.
I mean, if you know you're planning on pairing Phoenix and Andrade, just don't even bother putting him in that match. And Mello will give you just as many like replay worthy moves. You know what I mean? He's athletic. He does the same type of high flying things. Yeah, he's not a luchador, but you already have Penta in that match. You don't need another luchador.
That's true. It's true.
And you have El Grande, who's technically a luchador.
That's probably who I would have taken out of that match, to be
El
completely honest.
Grande?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was them just trying to capitalize though on the popularity of Gable at the time. Bless you, Cat.
Yeah. So this led us to the main event of Cody Rhodes and John Cena, who defeated Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre via disqualification. Rhodes and Cena closed in on the victory. Paul decided to go for a low blow. Literally, he dropped Cena with a blatant low blow, which caused the ref to call for the bell. These two would fight their way into the back, into gorilla position, and then Rhodes and McIntyre would kind of keep blasting each other. Cody kind of got blasted into the announcer's desk, which allowed Drew McIntyre to, I think, write Cody off TV for a little while so he can go be Colonel Guile in the Street Fighter movies. But he took a
Yep.
claymore right through the announce table, like through the side of the announce table, which really looked vicious. The way, especially with the way Tessitore and Wade like really made it sound like they were shocked that it happened. It's a really vicious looking hit, which I think obviously A sets up Cody and Drew, and B I think gets Cody off of TV for a little while.
Yeah, Tessitore and Wade did a fantastic job of selling that Claymore on Cody and how Cody was in a real bad way afterwards. And it was definitely an interesting way of doing it. I don't think I've ever seen anybody put through the side of the announcer table before. It's always through the top. And I just think that the Claymore is such a great, vicious looking move anyway, because it
Yes.
can literally come out of nowhere. And I think if you're going to write Cody off TV so he can go film however many scenes he needs to be as Captain Sonic Boom, I'm all for it. I have to imagine that he'll probably be back for Paris. I mean, it's a couple weeks, right?
He's on the poster.
Okay, so he should be. It'll probably be him versus Drew in Paris. I have to imagine that their program's probably going to run at least a month or two. I can't imagine it'll just be a one and done. I think that the match itself for the tag match was everything we expected. Cody did most of the work. Cena got in, started to hit his greatest hits. Logan Paul did the heel thing and DQ'd. Wasn't really a fan of that. I would have been a little bit better, I think, if it match had gone ended a different way. But I do get it. And then them fighting to the back, I wish they would have followed that a little bit more too, not just the Cody and Drew stuff going on the outside. But it
Mhm.
furthers both their stories. We get the setup for Paris. I have to imagine, I think Brock is going to interfere in Paris and just keep that storyline going as well. But I think it'll be it'll be an interesting next couple weeks as long as we get an episode or two of less backstage segments and more actual in the ring segments and go
Yeah,
from there.
yeah, completely agree. So that was Friday Night SmackDown. So what was your final review of the show, and how are you feeling about the soft reset after SummerSlam?
For this particular SmackDown, I'd probably give it a two, just average. If it like I said, if it weren't so much backstage stuff going on for storyline purposes, it definitely would have been better. The matches themselves were great, nothing super to write home about. Um, I think the soft reboot is after SummerSlam is exactly what WWE needed. You still have a couple main storylines going, like your Seth storyline over on Raw, and then obviously what's going to happen to Cena for the rest of the year. But then you have your other storylines that are opening up now, like the MFTs joining the tag division, that kind of stuff, and whatever's going to go on with Julia and her partnership with Kiana James. I think that it opens up the ability to tell more stories, especially with not being in the crunch of three PLEs in a month and a half. I think that hurt WWE. And now having more time to work with is going to give us better overall stories and better overall television.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, Paris is in like 3 weeks, but then like after that, you don't have anything until October. So you have like 6 weeks after the Paris show before your next thing. So you can really give all of these stories some time to breathe and like maybe actually set something up for Survivor Series and make it like as big as it can be when we get to the end of November for that show as well. So I agree with you. I think the show was kind of a miss. It wasn't exactly a dud. There were some good things. I really like the stuff going on with Alexa and Charlotte, and I'm glad Cody's moving on to Drew, at least for a little while, even though I zero chance Drew ends up taking the title off of him. I still think that it's a fine program for Cody. So
Yep.
I am completely good with that. So yeah, that was SmackDown, and that was our review of the show. As always, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Smash that like and subscribe button if you guys enjoy this content. Have yourselves a fantastic evening and take care.